Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Carmen Andrea Harris. I am a digital education strategist, creator of Bohemian Academics. I teach mompreneurs how to create a harmonious homeschool plan. You can learn more about me and the services that I offer via bohemianacademics.com. Once you're on the website, you can also get a free gift for joining my email community. So, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to homeschool in Florida. So a little bit of backstory about me. I used to teach in Atlanta, Georgia for 6 years, many moons ago. I also have experience personally homeschooling my children in the states of Florida and Georgia. Now, just as well as public school is very different from homeschool, every state homeschool law is different, okay? So you want to definitely look into the different states, whatever state you're living in, whatever state you're thinking about moving to, and you want to homeschool, you want to check out the homeschool law because they vary from state to state. It's not a one-size-fits-all state. Now, even though each state has different state laws, there are certain categories that are included in every single homeschool law. For example, in every single homeschool law, you're going to have options for homeschooling, which are the different options that you have and different styles, so to speak, to homeschool your child. You also have the school required for ages, meaning the ages that children are required to be in school. You have your notification requirements, whether or not you have to notify someone to let them know that you're actually homeschooling your children. You have teacher qualifications, the qualification requirements for the person who is going to be teaching your children, meaning yourself, if you're going to be the teacher, or if you're hiring a tutor or a teacher, they have to have some certain requirements as well. State mandated subjects, whether or not there are certain subjects that you have to teach in your state. Then you have the assessment requirements, meaning if you have to administer some type of test or assessment at the end of the school year to check progress. And then last but not least, you have your immunization requirements. So you're going to find all of those categories underneath each state homeschool law. The only difference is different states have different answers or different requirements to the question. So we're going to dig a little bit deep into the state of Florida. And I have my notes here because I am a teacher at heart and I can get long-winded. So I want to stay on track. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a breakdown of the Florida homeschool law, and I'm going to go section by section. Options for homeschooling, school required for ages, notification requirements, teacher qualifications, state mandated subjects, assessment requirements, and immunization requirements. So let's start with the top one. So for the state of Florida, your options for homeschooling, you have 3 options for homeschooling. That means you have 3 different choices for homeschooling. Choice number 1 is to homeschool under the homeschool statute, meaning you follow the guidelines for the state of Florida. And what that entails is you have to file a notice of intent to homeschool within 30 days of beginning your homeschool program with your county superintendent, okay? You also have to maintain a portfolio for at least 2 years after it is completed. So after each school year, you have to keep those records for at least 2 years, keep them filed away. You also have to evaluate your student annually, and you're going to do that with a certified Florida teacher. And then when you decide to leave the state of Florida and go and homeschool in another state, you have to file a notice of termination when your homeschool program ends. Now, under the homeschool statute in the state of Florida, you only have to file the notice of intent, the declaration of intent, one time, as long as you're continuing to homeschool. Only time you have to notify them again is if you decide to homeschool in another state, or if you're not going to homeschool anymore and you're sending your children back to school. The second option for homeschooling is to homeschool underneath a private school umbrella. That means that you're going to enroll your child in a private school that is registered with the Florida Department of Education, and they're going to oversee your homeschool program. So they kind of cover you. It's like a covering. And then the third option is homeschooling with a private tutor. So you're going to select a private teacher or tutor for your child, and they have to hold a valid Florida teaching certificate in the subjects or the grades that apply to your child. Now, that teacher or that tutor, they have to keep records of your child, the academic progress, and then they also have to provide the required days of instruction, 180 days or the equivalent on an hourly basis. So those are the options for homeschooling in Florida. You have 3, okay? Now, we're going to move on to the school required for ages. So when your child is at least age 6 up until the age of 16. Those are the ages that they're required to be in school in the state of Florida. Notification required. There is no notification required except for option 1. Option 1 is if you're going to homeschool under the Florida state statute, okay? That in that case, you have to notify the county superintendent that you're going to homeschool, create a home education program. Teacher qualifications. Now, if you are going to be the parent teaching your children, there are no qualifications. However, remember, if you're going to hire a tutor or a teacher, they have to be a Florida certified teacher with a valid teaching certificate. Now, in terms of state mandated subjects, there are no state mandated subjects in the state of Florida. I'm going to say that again. There are no state mandated subjects in the state of Florida. I love it because it allows you a lot of freedom. Me personally, because I am a teacher at heart, there are some foundational subjects that I think my children should be learning, which are reading, writing, and math, okay? In addition to real life skills, entrepreneurial skills, those are extras. But in the state of Florida, there are no state mandated subjects. So you have the complete and total freedom to educate your child the way that you believe is best. Now, are there any assessment requirements? There are no assessment requirements with the exception of option number 1, which would be you homeschooling underneath the state statute for homeschool, okay? And those assessment requirements are number 1, evaluation by a Florida certified teacher. Number 2, you also have the option of administering a nationally normed student achievement test that will be administered by a certified teacher. The third option is a student assessment test used by the school district and administered by a certified teacher at a location and under testing conditions that are approved by the school district. Number 4, you can have your child evaluated by a Florida licensed psychologist or a school psychologist. Or the last option that you can use is you can have your child be evaluated with any other valid measurement tool as mutually agreed. So as you see for the assessment requirements, the majority of them require a Florida certified teacher. What I do is I have a Florida certified teacher do a homeschool evaluation, send in work samples. I remember the very first year that I got a homeschool evaluation from a Florida certified teacher, I created a Facebook group. I had work samples. I had videos of our field trips and some of our lessons. And she was like, you really went above and beyond. Like, you didn't have to do all of this. And I'm like, it's the teacher and me. And it was my first year homeschooling traditionally, both children. And I was like, I just want to make sure that I do it right, that I have enough information, that I document that we were actually learning. And it was a breeze, but I did above and beyond because that's just who I am. And I used to be in the traditional classroom. So there were certain requirements that I had for my children personally, but I love the state of Florida, how much freedom it gives you as a parent to do what you feel is best for your child in terms of homeschool. And then immunization requirements. There are no immunization requirements. Of course, your child is not really going to be around other children. So there is no mandate for that. So those are the components of the Florida homeschool law in a nutshell. If you would like to learn more about homeschooling, you can go to my website, bohemianacademics.com. You can get my free homeschool cheat sheet that will also add you to my email list where I'll be updating you with different tips and strategies. And you'll also learn how you can work with me in a professional capacity if you are wanting to homeschool and you want someone to hold your hand, someone who has traditional teaching experience as well as real life homeschooling experience. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, leave me a comment below, and don't forget to grab your free gift at bohemianacademics.com. Thanks. Peace.